Let's start with LeBron because your book does kind of dissect that intersection of when he leaves Cleveland the first time, goes to Miami, and is searching for that first championship. How different is LeBron now 8 years later from where you sit?
Yeah, it's a great question because really the story with him, he's using basketball to figure out who he is, and that's what everybody does. Everybody in this book does that. Everybody in this league does that. And they come in wanting to be something, and then over the years, if they're great enough, they figure out who they are by way of basketball. When LeBron was 17, he was told he was supposed to be Michael Jordan. And he spent the first 8 years of his NBA career really trying to be something he wasn't. He was trying to be the next Michael, and he didn't know who he could be. In Miami, he figured that out. And now he knows exactly who he is. And he understands who he is better than anybody else in this league right now. And when I watch him play, D.A., I just remember this whole tension that existed when he first came into the league. He wanted to be Magic Johnson. Everybody else wanted him to be Michael Jordan. Now I watch him play, and he's both. He's a hybrid. He passes like Magic, plays for his teammates like Magic, carries his team like Michael, scores like Michael, makes the big shots like Michael, makes the devastating athletic plays at both ends of the court like Michael. So we're seeing a guy we've never seen before. He's as close, really as close to the perfect basketball player as we've ever seen. I'm not saying he's the greatest yet. When you're the greatest, it's a matter of what you do with your talent, but he's surely the most talented. And really, the simplest way to say he's as close to the perfect player as we've seen.
I saw a lot of feedback on social media after his Game 6 epic performance of people starting to go, you know what? Now I'm in the he's better than MJ camp. And then after Game 7 on the road in Boston where they were perfect at home, even more people started saying, you know what? He is better than MJ. To me, if he wins this NBA Finals with all the deck stacked against him and they're huge underdogs, if he wins this one, it's impossible not to make him better than Michael, right?
Well, I would just say for the argument to really be valid, we have to wait. It's a great conversation to have right now, but it's like a couple before they get married. How good of a couple are they? We don't know until after they've been married for a long time. We're not going to know how LeBron compares with Michael until LeBron's finished his career. We see everything he's done, and then you let the dust settle. Remember when Kobe Bryant was getting ready to retire, and there was a lot of talk at that time, Kobe's better than Michael. He's just as good as Michael. Well, now Kobe's been out of the league for a couple of years. Things have calmed down. We're not all caught up in what he's doing, and no one compares Kobe to Michael anymore. We know Michael was better. Kobe was great. Michael was better. So let's settle it down. But your point is very, very well taken, because if he were to win this championship, now he's done something that I don't even know if Michael Jordan could have done, because LeBron's team is worse than it was last year. They don't have Kyrie Irving. They have not defended at a championship level for 2 years, which is why I think he's probably out the door no matter what anyway. And he's playing against a team that compares talent-wise with the best teams we've ever seen. So he's in this sort of enviable, unprecedented position. The first time in his life he has no expectations. He can just go for it. No one's thinking he should win. This is the first time there's no pressure on LeBron. First time in his life he's ever had this as a player, and he seems to be thriving in that environment.
Ian Thomsen joins us here on the show, veteran NBA scribe. What'd you think? I know that the Rockets got as far as they did because of the three-pointer, but when you go 0 for 27 from beyond the arc, should you stop shooting? Were the Rockets too stubborn last night?
Yes. And a LeBron team would never do that. And that old saying, if your outside shot isn't falling, go inside, get fouled, get to the foul line. all this analytics era and the three-point shooting era, it doesn't do away with that old common sense truth. If you're not making your outside shots, bring the ball inside. And we all know if LeBron's team was missing a lot of threes, he'd be pushing the ball inside and getting to the foul line. He wouldn't let it happen. That's the next step in James Harden's development. He's got to. Everybody talks about how smart he is as a point guard, and he's moved into that role for Mike D'Antoni as a scorer who also assists in high numbers because he's very smart with the ball in his hands in each play. But in the bigger picture, he was not smart. In the bigger picture, he didn't react to what was going on. It was like kind of saying, "This is who we are. This. There's nothing we can do about it." Instead of saying, "How are we going to win?" You know, he just needed to be practical. And I think the whole Rockets' future depends on him realizing that he wasn't practical and learning from it.
With Chris Paul healthy, Game 6 or Game 7, do you think the Rockets find a way to win and go to the NBA Finals?
They might very well have done so because this Warriors team looks like a team that's been in 4 straight finals now. It's going to its 4th straight finals. They look not as focused. They're more inconsistent. They have lows like they never had before, where they're not defending the way they should, the way they know they can. They're not sharing the ball. They're not as crisp. You know, they are not playing basketball as well as they did last year. There's just no doubt of that. Fortunately for them, they're playing a team that's even more flawed. But I'll say this: if the Warriors are not sharing the ball, if the Warriors think they can win this by playing isolation, now they're opening the door up for LeBron because Cleveland can guard them if they're not moving the ball. But if they are moving the ball, they will pick that Cleveland defense apart. Cleveland is not good defensively when you make the extra passes. They don't stay engaged. They leave guys wide open. If you just press them, if you keep moving the ball, you can break them wide open. If they're not broken wide open, now you give LeBron a chance to make the games close. And that's why I think a lot of people are going to be watching just to see what LeBron can do in this situation.
I think 2007 was one of the worst rosters you could possibly take to an NBA Finals when LeBron took that Cavs team and got swept by San Antonio. Do you think that this Cavs team is better than that Cavs team?
Yeah, because there are guys on this team that were with him when they won it a couple of years ago. Tristan Thompson, we saw it in the Game 7 the other night. I was at the game, and Tristan Thompson was doing what he did for their championship team, and J.R. Smith made a couple of very big shots, and LeBron kept feeding him the ball knowing that. George Hill was a Spur originally and then played against LeBron in big games in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. And his defense on Terry Rozier took Terry Rozier out of the game, and that was huge for Cleveland to win. So he's got guys that he can trust, that he knows can come up big when he really needs them. And that's something that he didn't have, and then he's just totally a different player. He was pretending to be a guy that had it all figured out back then. That's what was demanded of him. The NBA needed that. They needed him to pretend, and that's what he was doing. And now there's no pretense at all. He's the legitimate thing. Every time I watch LeBron now, I'm just trying to watch him with an idea that, you know, it's something you're going to be telling your grandchildren about.
It's a good way to put it. Ian Thomsen's the author of the book, The Soul of Basketball, the epic showdown between LeBron, Kobe, Doc, and Dirk that saved the NBA. Check it out. It's available now. All places books are sold, online included. Follow him on Twitter, @Ian Thomsen. Ian, we'll catch up with you later on in the NBA Finals, my man. Thanks so much, as always.
All the best, DA. Thank you.
You too. Ian Thomsen joining us on the show, and I think that's the perfect way to put it.